You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well. This has been quite the week, and I'm feeling good, y'all. I'm feeling good. It's officially less than 1 month away until we say we do, and it's been a joyride, to say the very least. It's been a really inexplicable experience, like planning this wedding and all that's to come with it, and all of the joy and magic and excitement. I'm super elated, super excited. Words can't even describe how I feel. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And everyone's like, oh, do y'all have butterflies and all that? I'm like, I don't. I mean, I feel like, I think like probably the week of the wedding, which, would be my birthday also as well. I'm turning 30 on the 12th of October. That might maybe make things different. But as of right now, my mindset is just hitting all the points, getting things done, That's where my head has been. One of the things I've been observing through planning weddings is the fact that there's always these goddamn surprises, as far as like expenses go. So one thing that I didn't realize, I realized it, but it makes sense. But I was like, oh snap, we got to get insurance, which is what our day of planner told us. But what we was thinking was we thought the insurance for the venue, but then we realized we had to make sure it covered the rehearsal itself, not the rehearsal dinner, because it's like, listen. But the rehearsal is going to be at the venue. So our package had to include the rehearsal, and then it had to include the actual wedding date itself, and then the ceremony part, and it was long story short, it was nothing I was expecting. But insurance is not that expensive. But it is, a couple hundreds. It's just like, who would have thought this came from the sky? And then I realized, oh snap, my day of coordinator, which I'm so happy. Listen, I recommend, there's a difference between a wedding planner and a day of coordinator. And I'm realizing that now, which I'm happy for that. Like, basically, we planned the wedding, but the day of coordinator is somebody that you cannot replace. You have to have one, in my opinion. If you're going to do a wedding with over 50 people, get one. I highly recommend it. Maybe one of the smartest things that I purchased, things that we both agreed upon, let's be clear, because at first it was like, well, do we? And I'm like, we need a day of coordinator, because these things that you just don't see, because now they're talking to the vendors that we have. They're talking to people, and they're finding out all the little details and things that, we didn't think about, or it didn't come up when we were having those conversations, but they know, because they know weddings. So it's like, I would say for some people who are very creative, like I was, and like Mr. Johnson was, plan your wedding how you want to, because that's what we did. We planned our wedding from the type of food to the details to the website to the newsletter to all of the things. We did all of that. But the day of coordinator is the person that's almost like, your they're like your executive assistant. They're like your manager. They make sure, everybody's, taken care of, any little details that you don't even think of because you don't know anything about weddings. If it's your first wedding, like this is our first and our last wedding, clearly. So we don't know, we didn't know all the other things. So she's phenomenal. She's doing her thing. It's Two Little Birds, is the company, and woman owned. And she's just incredible. She was able to make sure that we did the vendor meals. And I had completely was like, I never heard of vendor meals before. I was like, they could just eat it. They're like, oh no, vendor meals, I never heard of them. So we had to pay for that, which wasn't that bad. It wasn't expensive. At first I was like, oh my God. But then I realized, I thought that I was like, oh, they can eat what we're eating at the wedding, but they're not. I just was not thinking. So yes, I was like, oh yes, vendor meals. That makes so much sense. Talk to the caterer, see what they do. And then we got the invoice and we took care of that. So I was like, okay, insurance. But my day of coordinator told me, and this made me feel really good. She said that, well, it's good that you're doing, these types of things are things you really can't really pay for that far in advance because things can change, contracts can change, guest count can change, all those things can change. But now that you have those in place, these are the things that you pay for closer to the date. So in planning, I didn't feel bad. Ooh. Because me, I like to be ahead of it, because this summer was all about that. But these are cute little minor changes, and then I think the only thing we have left really, everything else is like paid for. The wedding itself is paid for, and I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of us as a couple because we said from day one we was not going to go in debt behind this wedding, and that happened. I must say. We did not take out any loans. I wasn't cutting any corners. And let me be clear, I am having the wedding that I dreamed of, the wedding that I wanted, how I wanted it. There was no cutting corners with this wedding. There's nothing in the wedding. I'm like, ugh, I wish I would have did more of this, or I didn't do enough of this. And everything that I wanted, I got for this. And that's the goal, right? Because you don't want to go back years later and be like, oh, I wish I would have bought flowers. Even though flowers shockingly are expensive as hell, I'm happy about that, and he's happy, and the guests and everybody that's coming are happy. So that has been super exciting. I'm thinking now about what else went down with other details. Yeah, we had this thing recently where we were thinking about. I know what I was gonna say. The last thing that I did think about in planning was like name tags and cards. You can't get those early. I have that's the last major expense that we have, and it's not even a major expense. Honestly, a couple like $100 or whatever. But all of the name cards of the wedding, it's like so hard to put your finger on it because not everyone's confirmed. So now, I can go into the process of making sure, I personalize the cards and seatings and things like that. I mean, there's a group I work with called Love House that's going to do all of that stuff. But it's like, wow, I just realized like we got to do that part. Because the tables are already set, but the detail of, oh, snap, I gotta make sure that the first two rows are labeled, that the seats are labeled, that the tables are set correctly, that people have their names and everything and all that. I just realized I'm gonna have to do that too. So there's a lot of interesting details and things that I just realized. I was like, oh snap. Well, that the day of coordinator told us. Okay, I'm not thinking of this just now because that would have been a mess. No. So that's the last thing. After that expense, everything is pretty much done. I mean, everything's done. The hotels, the honeymoon, everything's pretty much done at this point. One of the things that I love, that our guests love, that we do is that we've been doing a wedding newsletter for like the past several months. And it's not like bugging people every month. That is something that we was like, we don't want to be that couple. Because I feel like some people, I mean, no shade to anyone. I know weddings are exciting and whatnot, but I feel like there's some couples that like literally get on your nerves like every week, like it's the Academy Awards. And mind you, this is the wedding of the year, clearly. But it's not like, I just think that I at least I believe that we were not like that to our guests. Like, the most emails they've only gotten from us since December. No, January we started to do that. So January of 2020 till now, they have gotten 4 emails. 4 emails in total. And it was in the way the emails went down where they were spaced out. So there was like something like 6 months, a year, and then the wedding shower had a special email, and then there was an email that was sent out today yesterday actually, that was basically the 1 month mark. just to reiterate reminders and specific updates and details. But other than that, they're going to get a last 1 week of email reminder of details, and that's it. And then we'll probably send, an after, thank you, and then some photo links and some stuff like that. But that's it. That's it. Just the nice little drop reminders. And we also did a lot of mailing too. So, we mailed save the dates. We mailed the actual beautiful, physical invitation with the details and things on it. We did all of those things. We really, like I said, everything went through the process, and the wedding shower was phenomenal. The bachelor party was exceptional. I mean, everything is organized. I mean, even the way we did it with the formal invitations, we gave the formal invitations out at the wedding shower, which was beautiful. And we had the ethical society, which was perfection. I mean, we've been doing it. We've been doing it. It's really been, I mean, honestly, a perfect planning situation. I mean, I guess if there was ever like a hiccup or moment was like the making the adjustments with the vaccinations and the wedding and those things. But what I will say that has been interesting, an update on that situation. So for those who don't know, unlike Nicki Minaj, our weddings and plans, and we believe in vaccinations, and everyone got fully vaxxed to come to the wedding, or had to get fully vaxxed. Everyone is. Some of we had a cutoff because, as you know, it takes several weeks or whatnot to get fully vaxxed, and the 2 weeks after you get the second shot. I mean, all of that, we have to plan all of that. Well, people who did not initially agree to doing it or did not want to do it for whatever reasons, some of those people have now gotten vaccinated or gotten their first shot. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, now you want to get vaxxed? Now you want to? And it's like, well, your seat has already been given. And honestly, I could feel bad about it, but then there's a part of me that's like, no, because, you should have had your shit together. And unfortunately, you will not be technically fully vaxxed for the wedding. And now some people are getting vaxxed. But see, the selfishness of it and why I don't really feel bad about the situation is because, you didn't want to get vaxxed for this wedding, but now, I guess maybe your job is mandating, or maybe, some other stuff you want to go to isn't. And it's just, to me, I just feel like the change of mind isn't influenced by the wedding or by anything else. It's other needs and means, and now you want to eat your cake and your ice cream too. Sadly, when it comes to the date of this wedding, I do take fully vaccination seriously. Fully vaccinated does not mean getting a second shot. It means 2 weeks after you get the second shot. Like, I'm looking at the CDC guidelines. I'm looking at all of that. And with all this stuff going on otherwise, no. So there were some people that, I mean, I don't care. And I'm dead ass about that. I don't care. I don't even, well, there were people that said, oh, no. You should have been just as sad as we were when we was informed that you didn't want to get vaxxed and you felt like, that was unfair or whatever. And now you're crawling back 3 weeks later talking about I went ahead and got it. Well, good job for you. Good job for you to get vaxxed and safe. But, be safe somewhere else on October 16th. That's that I listen, I'm not going to bite my tongue on it. I just feel like, I've done a lot to try to find ways to accommodate people. And at some point, like my day of coordinator said, you are the person getting married, right? You and your lovely fiance, you all are getting married. You all should not be feeling like event throwers, but more like event honorees. And that really stuck with me about weddings, is that, again, haven't done it before, right? But in this case, I am an honoree. I am an honoree. So I shouldn't be feeling like a server or, like I'm throwing something for guests. I am the main attendee. And I think, with planning, it's that. But when it comes to the actual wedding itself, I'm going to prioritize my joy and the things that I want to make this a fabulous event. And I'm not compromising that. And people shouldn't do that. And people that put you in a position where they feel like you have to do all these other things for them and adjustments, then that just shows you what kind of friends they are. Just saying. So, lastly, before I get into other news, because I do want to talk about this aspect of the wedding. Um, so, apparently there are people who do not know that wearing all white to a wedding is not a good look. I did not realize that, like in my wedding, notes and things, I've not noted that you have to wear you should not wear all white. I said to people that I don't have a crazy dress code. Dress fun, dress photo ready, because there will be a photographer. There'll be photographers at the wedding taking pictures and being cute. Come and enjoy yourself, have a good time. All that kind of stuff. And I didn't want it to be stuffy, but I did say, hey, dress fabulous, dress great. But I'm not enforcing what that looks like for people. But I said, if you would like to be in a theme, we prefer our wedding colors is navy blue and gold. You know, that's what I'm saying, navy blue and gold. Whatever. Um, but other than that, there's no really crazy demands except do not wear all white. I had to literally realize I realized I had to actually say not all white because there were people behind the scenes, asking questions like, hey, well, no one from my side, but Mr. Johnson's side. They were like, that's the little rowdy bunch over there from Trenton, okay? But they were like, oh, can we wear all white? Can we? And so, you know, Barry's all like, oh, well, does it matter to people? I'm like, it matters to me. The answer is no. Like, no. A good friend of mine who's coming to my wedding just recently got married this summer. And she said that her wedding party was so gangster about this that they saw someone come to the wedding. First of all, it was a plus one that had no business there. That was in all white, and they made sure that person did not come. They were like, do not come in here with that. I mean, there's speculation that all white is bad luck for people wear. It's just also just tacky. It's also just inappropriate. It's also after Labor Day. It's a lot of things going on, but you just should not, like, don't be that person. Just don't. Like, there's other ways to look nice without just doing stuff like that. I look, I'm not trying to be a groomzilla, but I do agree with that notion. Like, why are you coming to why would you listen? You just tell people what it is and what it's not and whatever. But I was like, no, absolutely not. And I don't know. When people ask me what do I think about wedding attire and stuff, I've gone to a couple weddings. I don't do the most. I dress really nice, let me be clear, but I don't wear outfits that draw attention to me in a way that, is upstaging, the groom, the whatever. I think, you should come nice and come fabulous, but at the same time, be mindful of the situation. Like, it's not, when you're at someone else's wedding, it's not about you. That's just what I've learned. Like, when I go to people's weddings, I'm always like, I want to be here. I'm fortunate to be here. I am happy to be a part of this. I want to show as much love to these people as they give their nuptials. That was always my energy when I went to people's weddings. Like, I was very much like, chilling, being, doing what I need to do, give what I need to give. That was my energy. So to see people basically, look at weddings like it's a time for them to show up and show out, and I hear these stories, I'm like, ugh. I don't think that's anybody in my wedding situation. I think everybody's very much so enthusiastic and whatnot. But I would say, because, there was some omissions, it's been over a year, so people who were here versus who stayed, it's a very different group, but I want to keep it 100. I would say earlier people that I invited, I definitely sensed that they were at the wedding. Yes, they liked us and wanted to celebrate us, but I also think they also had ulterior motives. Like, they were definitely there for their own personal, flexing and whatnot. It wasn't as much about us than it was about them and their own positioning. And it's like, it's a wedding. Calm the fuck down. Like, I'm sorry. You could tell that I have definitely have thought a lot about some things. And I think the more you get close to a wedding, you start to reflect on it. Like, when a wedding is done, are there going to be some people you're going to talk to in this process or cut off? And I definitely have gone through this wedding journey. I definitely people that I definitely have cut off or intend to. But you go through the motions. You let the process happen. You do your thing, and it's not the thing that I'm focused the most about. It's just one of those duly noted moments, and you just know that when you get to after October 16th, you got a nice little short list of people. You're like, you know what? This the last time I'm gonna invite their ass to something. This the last time I'm gonna call their ass for something. This is it. And that's all. That's all it is. And people who've gotten married, who's done this, listen. I have talked to several couples. We both have. I have did it all. Let me tell you something. Behind the scenes, it ain't nothing like. Listen, ain't nothing like behind the scenes. People have told me all kind of things, and it's true. It's true. The rumors are true. Well, in the words of Lizzo, the rumors are true. All the rumors are true. Uh, it's real. So I definitely I'm happy I'm in a space where I've been able to prepare for those things and understand those things and then, set off and move forward. So long story short, this wedding is going to be epic, and I'm just counting down the weeks. It's been great to hang out with my friends and do some cool stuff. I've been hanging out with my best man a lot, and also other members of my wedding party. We just have been just hanging out, getting close and getting closer, to be honest. As we get close to the wedding day, we went to Tinsel, which you probably saw those cool photos. I was scared straight. There was an event there that I've been excited about. And Tinsel basically it's like a pop-up bar vibe where every season, like around Halloween and Christmas in the fall, they deck the place out as a theme that people can go to and experience. So right now it's got this like spooky house situation because spooky season is among us. So we're in that mode. We're getting ready for fall, so it's time to get spooky. And this a Halloween theme, and it's like on 12th Street in the neighborhood, right across from that Shake Shack that's over there, like around 12th Street, around 12th and Chestnut. It's over there, crept in one of those rows. But it's a very festive place. And I went there, and the cocktails are phenomenal. I don't even drink cocktails out of the bag, but they got like the little blood bag cocktail situation going, and I thought that was a joke, but that was good. I mean, it was some really good food, some good bites, some good drinks. It's a nice bar. It's a nice vibe. It was a good time. I mean, the drinks were top tier, and they really perfected their cocktail situation there. And this is by Teddy, the guy Teddy who owns the Uptown Beer Garden. He has Uban and Ubar, whatever. All of that row, tradesmen's, all of that stuff that's coming straight down on Chestnut in the neighborhood area, that whole row, some of those hot restaurants over there, Brew and all that. I believe he got a stake in that like tradesman, the barbecue place, U Bar and all that, and then Tinsel, of course. It's about in Uptown Beer Garden. My God, I mean, he got a couple of stuff actually. He's doing it, but that place is fun. It was cute. It's festive. I like it. He also owns the bar right next to it. I forget how to pronounce the name, but it's like a bar right next to Tinsel. That's really pretty upscale too. He owns both of those. He owns it. Okay. I was here for Tinsel. Going to do some big restaurant tastings this weekend. We'll get back to you on what I think about some of those restaurants. There's a lot of new restaurants coming to Philly because it's about to be fall. So follow Instagram. Of course, you all know where to find me at Mr. Ernest. Check out all the food postings and stuff because it's definitely going to be a weekend of food and all that stuff. So where do I want to begin? I thought I want, well, for starters on updates outside of all this, I've been doing pretty good across the board. I've been enjoying the fruits of my labor. By the time you all will be hearing all of this jazz, it will be, fabulous and everything will be coming along. I'm excited, to speak with all of you all on all the great things coming along. And, just in general, just it's just been great. I mean, for starters, the book has been work on the book has been fabulous. I got on the most influential list for the Philadelphia Tribune, which that could be a whole episode within itself. But long story short, it's my first time on the list, which comes as a surprise to many people. Not because I don't deserve to be on the list, but because of the history of me not being on the list. And so people always just say I was snubbed. I won't. Listen. I would just say it was a Susan Lucci moment, and the best way to describe it that would describe it and embody everything that's happened. When you think of a Susan Lucci moment, you think first of all, for starters, because it's been a while. So Susan Lucci is a famous daytime actress. She is the iconic Erica Kane. If anyone knows anything about soap operas, she was Erica Kane on All My Children, and Erica Kane is like the most consequential, influential character in American daytime soap operas, like the pivotal character. It's like, how would I describe her? I mean, it would be like the Cookie Lion of our era, where you talk about famous TV characters that everyone knows because of just how vibrant they were. I would say like Cookie Lion or Annalise Keating. It's like that. It's like that signature character. Like everyone knows that character. If you watch daytime soap operas, everybody knows who Erica Kane is. Even if you don't watch All My Children. I mean, most of these shows are not on air like they used to, but like Erica Kane is like a signature character, and Susan Lucci killed this character. I mean, she was all the iconic. Just words describe it. Well, so iconic that she was nominated 19 consecutive times for the Best Actress Daytime Emmy, and she did not win. Every year she'd be nominated. Everyone gave her all of her roses, gave her all the accolades, and told her how great she was and how this she was, but she could never win this damn Emmy. And the Daytime Emmy for soap operas and actresses is like the biggest, one of their biggest honors, and people used to always be like, why can't she win? She's always getting snubbed, and it became a running joke that she's never going to get it. And then, before the turn of the century, in 1999, Shamar Moore goes up on stage, and he's got this last, what's going to happen kind of thing. And he announces that she wins. It says the streak is over, which you can look at this on YouTube. I've watched this clip more times than most people probably have. But it's such a very, it's one of those things you just never forget. So she goes, they call her name. Everyone in the damn, auditorium is losing their mind. I mean, it's like almost like a football stadium. I think they were in Madison Square Garden. I can't remember where they were at, but it was packed. I think they were mad. That's, when award shows was like a thing, right? Like a huge thing. So everybody in there got up on their feet making noise. It was crazy. You could hear, like for the first 2 minutes, it's nothing but noise. Like she can't even give her speech because everyone is just like so overjoyed. And that's kind of how I felt this week when, this news came out, and, I was able to share it to my followers. Like everyone was just 500 you all liked it on social and went crazy. And it was a lot of text messages and calls. And it was just, I don't do my work for awards. Like I don't. I mean, it's nice. They're nice. It's flattering. Clearly, regardless of whether or not you get such a thing or an honor or a name or whatever, at the end of the day, the impact is undeniable. Like whether Susan Lucci won that Emmy or not, no one was ever going to deny the impact of Erica Kane. But I will say that sometimes in the world, people would like to see people who deserve get. And I think that's the feeling. Like it's like, we all know Lemonade is one of the best albums of this decade and one of the best albums of all time. And, even though Beyonce did never not need the Grammy for Album of the Year to confirm that, like many other black artists who've been denied over the past 20 years, to be honest, a lot of black artists have not won that Grammy in years where they should have won. I mean, come on. But that did not deny the impact of the album, what it represents and how it's a cultural, relic, right? these things don't define what the real impact of these that it is, right? We know that. Like, if a film doesn't win Best Picture, I mean, when Moonlight won Best Picture, that's why it was a great experience, because everyone thought La La Land was going to win, and he actually announced it wrong that La La did win. It didn't, right? Moonlight ended up winning, which, of course, Moonlight came out 5 years ago. Great film. Watch it on Netflix. There's people out here who still have not seen Moonlight. I don't understand. Anyway, great film. But when it won, it felt good because it should have won, and it was the best film. It's one of the best films in the past 20 years. And a lot of times, as we know, the Oscars, the Academy, these people get it wrong. So when they get it right, it's always even more magical. And I think that's, what it feels like. And, people just was just happy. And I'm happy. I think, after many years many years in the scene, that the oldest Black newspaper in the country finally considered me to be one of the most influential African Americans. So I could say more, but for those who know the full story and why this is even more spectacular, this is why. But I was happy. In other news, because a lot of people will get this at the same time on social, I I've said I had a big announcement about tech, a big tech announcement. And my big tech announcement is that I am signed to Galaxy, which is this incredible new social media app that is in beta right now, but it's revolutionary, and I have nothing but great things to say about it. So basically, Galaxy is a new app. It's going to be coming very soon to iOS, Apple, and eventually Android, of course, because I'm an Android person, but I got the iPad and stuff. But it's an open social marketplace designed and built by creators for creators. And what I love about this is that, creators of all types, people like me who do, consulting and media and all this kind of stuff, but then there's also cooks and other folks, we can offer more direct and intimate experiences to our fans and followers through a suite of familiar and new features that everyone will be able to know about and love. All types of new ways to embrace followers. And I'll get to some of this. But, they kind of use this like cutting edge blockchain technology. It's an in-app experience that, is secure and seamless. And as a user, you get to be in the center of all of it. It's very immersive. Basically, the goal is that, Galaxy wants to create a future where creators are able to foster, empower, and incentivize their communities through these custom creator tokens that they've made that allows people to, reap the benefits of this creator economy. So what is happening here is that, as you all know, and you have been seeing this trend, there's been a lot of conversations about social media influencers and creators and people of that nature on social media that put out a lot of free content. And, while to some extent that's good, a lot of our Black influencers, a lot of our Black and brown and our young creators and people who are influencers in this lot, they're putting out work that's getting stolen. They're putting out work and art that isn't being, maximized or monetized or incentivized enough. And this, lovely app, Galaxy, which is like Galaxy, but it's Galaxy. It's spelled Calaxy. It's created by a pro basketball player named Spencer Dindy. He's a Black guy, incredible. It's a Black-owned app. Imagine that. He's looking at it, and he's partnering with all types of different influencers, Tiana Taylor, Iman Shumpert, some other reality stars, different types of influencers from different markets, including myself, and has basically sought out these influencers in different categories. And I'm one of the people that his team reached out to. And, when they told me about this, I was super excited because what's different about this, so people will say, well, what, isn't this like Patreon? Isn't this like, OnlyFans? No. Because for starters, let's say this, it's Patreon. For those who don't know, Patreon is a service that allows, creators to market their stuff and sell their stuff to their fans, and their fans can create these accounts and pay for direct, services and items and things like that. That's Patreon. This is better than Patreon in the sense that it creates a space to connect you to different people.
two different audiences. So yes, you have your following, but they also put you in this like marketplace or this a value assessment where other people within the larger user network can connect to you. So it's in a way it like promotes you for whatever services or talents or things you have without you having to do all that work on your own. And I really like that because what has happened is that a lot of these websites and social media sites they want you to bring your followers to them so that they can exploit them, and it's more of them trying to sell crap to your followers rather than promoting you or giving other people the opportunity access to see what kind of stuff you put out there that might align with them. So you're growing a following while also growing a new following. And that's incredible to me. That stood out to me. And that stands out more than Patreon, right? Why is it not OnlyFans? It's because for starters, OnlyFans again asks of you to draw that attention in, but OnlyFans is also very super focused on celebrities. It's also their platforms are doing different types of things that Galaxy is not. And I'm not shaming what people do, but Galaxy isn't for people to do sex work. It's not for people to, do offer services that could be rendered not valuable. This is a place for specific content creators that are in the arts, that's in the intellectual space and a different type of caliber. So OnlyFans, anybody can go up on OnlyFans and do God whatever. They're vetting the creators and the content producers on here. So you just can't be someone who wakes up one day and say, I want to create a Galaxy account. No, you could create a Galaxy account to be a user, but to be a creator, they really do have a metric of that. They really want high level valued, intellectual, creative, innovative people to be on the production side because basically they want to feel like, look, when we're telling people to check this person out, subscribe to this person's page, they're offering great opportunities and services, yada, yada, yada. They want to be able to feel comfortable with the type of talent they have there. So this is very focused on quality in that type of way, but also equity. And I really love it. So I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to create exclusive content for that site, for this app, conversations, consulting, giving people advice. I mean, it's all kind of cool things. The possibilities are really endless. A lot of you all have, had situations where you said, look, I want to pick your brain. Can we have a conversation, a call for an hour? I want to tell you about this project I'm working on. I need some advice about blah, 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 blah. This is an opportunity for you all to connect with me in a different way to do that because some of you all, my listeners, are all over the world. They're all over the country. I mean, they're everywhere. And a lot of times, time zones and also my time, is valuable. It deserves it. And a lot of times I get DMs from people that are like, oh, can I talk about this? Can I talk about this? Is like, I don't have the free time to just sit up and consult and tell people things for free. But there is now a new system where I can be able to create that time and monetize it in a way that is making my time useful. So it gets to expand my consulting, expand my accessibility to my followers in different types of ways. And it's, I think, one of the most innovative ways to create equity and draw opportunity for content creators like myself that has not been really fully fleshed out by other types of companies. So I'm excited about this. It's Black owned. It's coming soon. If you go to my link tree on my Instagram page, I do provide the link where you can, in advance, okay, you can be on my wait list. You join my wait list and you receive an access code when I'm on Galaxy. So this access code will allow you to get to the page. We're in beta mode. You can check out the website. It's Galaxy.com, CALAXY.com. And, check us out and see all the great work that we're doing. So I'm super excited. Words cannot describe how, exuberant this exciting experience has been. Super excited. Just words can't describe. So I guess there's, let's just, the news. Okay, where do I start? We'll start with Lil Nas X. So Lil Nas X is killing it. I cannot, say enough of that. Lil Nas X is killing it. He is just slaying the game. and really just I mean, if there was somebody who understood the assignment, he definitely understands the assignment. I mean, this is a crazy week. He said it's the best week of his life, and I can understand why. He starts off Sunday at the VMAs, winning Video of the Year for Montero, which was incredible because MTV, like I said, oftentimes gets it wrong sometimes. Like, I remember Camila Cabello won one year for Havana, even though she was going against Childish Gambino, This Is America. The This Is America video was the most talked about video of that year. I think it was 2018. And I'm sitting here like, how did she win? How? Like, MTV has just fucked it up. But many times. Many times, let me just add. But I really did like that he won. He went against Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion for WAP, which I thought WAP was also a strong contender. But I mean, WAP really, both of those songs. But I think Montero was really the song, one of the songs of the summer. I would say Butter by BTS is the song of the summer. People are going to get mad at me for saying that, but I mean, the charts don't lie. I mean, it was a top summer song. But it definitely was a song. I mean, it's the song, the video is definitely of 2021. It is the video of the year, compared to, WAP came out a year ago. And I knew that was going to happen. Some videos can't move into the next year as well. I mean, that song just came out super, super 1 year ago that it's still a great song. We still know the impact, but I could see the voters going for Lil Nas X's video because he's just so now. Like, Lil Nas X is like everything about, and he's really he's the embodiment of this year. And what a interesting career. It just the way he's been able to maintain relevance and not miss a beat. So he was at the Met Gala. I thought was one of the best dressed. He the first time he ever went to the Met Gala, and he had Versace. First, he came out in this big, huge robe that covered him up. Then it came off, and it was like a metallic outfit that's from Versace. Then that came off, and it was like a bodysuit that was shimmery. It was a lot going on, but it was fabulous. And the Met Gala was really great too. There's was an interesting year, a lot of protests. This is the first time they've come back because they had to take a break for COVID last year. But there's been a lot of conversation about sidebar about AOC's eat the rich dress, or no, tax the rich dress. And it depends on how you feel about the situation. I mean, my thing with AOC, I mean, this is my opinion about that situation just in total. I just feel like, look, where I stand on is the Met Gala is $35,000. The ticket to go to that gala is, or gala, whatever you prefer, is $35,000. A table to get a seat. I'm sorry, a seat, not a table, a seat. But money goes to this museum, right? It goes to the Met. It's to support this. It's a big fundraiser. And, Anna Wintour is the chairwoman of this entire event. And the top celebrities come. It's all of that. And it's charity. It's an event to raise money for that museum. And they're trying to, they raise money. One of the things that really upsetted me about AOC's, the whole situation with the dress, it's not about her wearing the dress. Because the message is what it is, right? It's that she really, when she spoke about it, she said something along the lines when she was talking to a reporter about her dress. She's like, she wanted to open up this conversation about income inequality because the working class and the middle class are having a conversation, but now it's time for all classes to have this conversation. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? So her whole argument was she wanted to start this conversation or create this conversation or get people from the elite to think about it or to talk about it. So everyone needs to be talking about wealth inequality and all this. So she was saying her dress is going to make this statement. My issue with this is that rich people are talking about wealth inequality. They talk about it by saying they don't give a fuck. The super, super wealthy, most of them are knowing what the conversation is about taxes. They don't want to be taxed. They don't. Like, I know that they got Warren Buffett out here talking about taxing more. Y'all got to stop with these fucking anecdotes. The billionaires in this country, right? The top 1%, right? The real 1%, because we're going to talk about wealth real quick. Sorry, Lil Nas X. You'll be all right. Hold on one second. This situation with wealth inequality, this shit pisses me off because it's so, people just don't understand wealth, and I get it. Because everybody's lying about it to some extent, or there's misperceptions. People don't understand it at all. But the truth of the matter is, AOC, Congress person, the wealthy understand the conversation. They understand the conversation so much that they are putting up legislators to make sure that they don't have to, that they could get those tax breaks and those tax hikes and all that other stuff. They literally elect certain people to do that. They literally support conservatives and folks to make sure that their taxes are not being charged. They don't want to be taxed. They want to skip codes. They've been doing this forever. The conversation doesn't need to be started with them. What you need to just do is slap them beside their face with legislation that's going to say your ass is getting taxed. Okay? All this dialogue. Let's start the conversation. Fuck out of here. My whole thing, I'm serious. Like, what rich person don't understand, don't know anything about taxes, don't know anything about yada, yada, yada. What rich person do you not know? I have been in rooms with real rich people. I've been in rooms with billionaires and super, super multimillionaires. I'm talking about people who got buildings named after them all over the city that did not get it on an honorary tip, but because they paid for it. I've been in the room. Okay, I went to a college. Don't forget, my college, University of Pennsylvania, my alma mater, produces some of the most self-made billionaires in the world. Okay, I've seen real money. Okay, and we're gonna talk about that. But I've been in rooms, and the most of the stuff they talk about is about stocks, about their stock, about their value, about their taxes and cutting corners and philanthropy. That's all they talk about. So I don't know what planet AOC is on, but it just is a very remedial assessment of the issue. Everybody's talking about it. Truth of the matter is, I would argue that working class and middle class people, while we do talk about taxes to a certain extent, we also don't really talk about the differentiations between what's real wealth and equity versus what is whatever. I would tell you what I mean by this. So there's a lot of people out there who use this word rich and wealthy a lot. And we are at a point in society that because of the economic disparity, people who are making a decent living, meaning that they're getting paid enough money to pay all of their bills, to save some money, they're being treated and considered rich simply for having a decent living, getting paid what they should get paid, having healthcare benefits. That has now become considered such a luxury that the luxury of those things, or the privilege, has now been conflated into wealth. People with a college degree, if you got a college degree, you must be wealthy. If you have, a job that pays you, a full-time job that pays you with benefits, you must be a wealthy person. So now people have, because the disparity is so wide now and the gap is increasing, people are starting to conflate everyday people that have a decent job and living, right, as being the enemy, as being the 1%. And I'm here to tell y'all that is not true. That people that are have a job that has $100,000 salary, those people are not rich. They're not super wealthy. I get it, right? To you, you're like, they must be, whatever. They're not. Because here's the reality. Poverty in this country is so fucked up. Pay is so fucked up in this country that those greedy, super wealthy billionaires, right? Those people have exploited so much. They're so fucking rich that everybody else is really not that wealthy. It's a real huge gap. And so what's happening is that the tax code is completely fucked off because you go from 0 to 100 real quick. You make some six figures or something like that, and then automatically the way that you're charging taxes become exempt changes. It's wild. I could be an economist and talk about all this, but what I want to say to people is that the lawyer that it works for you. It's not the super wealthy person that you think, right? The guy on your corner that has a Gucci belt, that's real, that sometimes take trips to Cancun is not the super wealthy 1% person that you think they are. Especially when we're talking about black and brown people. I know some people in my network that, make some good money. They got a house or whatever. They're doing pretty well for themselves, but they're not wealthy in the way that you think of Oprah. And so the fact is, we go from Oscar across the street to Oprah, and the conflation is wild. Like, there's people out here who think I'm super, super rich. I am not. I am like I was. What I will say, because full transparency, I am getting paid what I deserve. But to be very clear, it's it's what I deserve. It's not, and let me be even more specific. I'm not a multi-millionaire. Like, I don't have millions of dollars. Like, I'm not that person. And so I just want to be clear. As you all have seen, I have gotten things. I've been paid decently for my book and for the things I have, but it's nothing that is like Beyonce, Rihanna. But people think that because it says, "Oh, you have this Ivy League degree." Yeah, that was fully paid for by the University of Pennsylvania through tuition and financial aid because my family could not pay $60,000 a year for me to go to Penn by themselves. But this is the issue. We don't think about the nuances. I mean, I was afforded a world-class education, but did I pay that money to go to that school? No. But people assume wealth because of those connections. No, people get financial aid. People do those things. Those things exist. And there's a lot of people going into college debt as well. I was fortunate to have that type of strain in my undergraduate years. But these are things that happen. But what I think about it is that when I hear comments like that by LC, she tries to neutralize this like it's a across the board issue. It's actually not. The super rich is the super rich, and they don't give a fuck about having this conversation. You just need to go back to Congress and get these people, put some fire in their ass, and get them to do X, Y, and Z. Period. So that's, my sidebar rant about socioeconomic issues and why LC needs to she should, in my opinion, girl, go to your party, go to your expensive party, have a good time, drink your liquor, and be all right. We ain't judging you. We ain't judging. I'm not judging her. I mean, listen, she wanted to go to the party, have a good time. Look, everybody deserves to have fun. Go have fun. Don't feel like you have to always put on, because then the art of trying to put on makes it worse. I feel like I'm more annoyed with what she tried to do rather than just go to the party and come back to us and tell us what went down. That's how I feel. I think too many people are doing too much. But back to Lil Nas X. He's been having a great run. I've heard Montero several times. It's a pretty short album, y'all. Albums are getting shorter, y'all. I've been talking about this, but these songs are like less than 3. I'm not used to songs being less than 3 minutes by pop art. Just by musicians. Like, normally, what happened to a good 4-minute song? Somebody got something to say. Now, Taylor Swift's album, she don't play. A Taylor Swift song is going to be about 4 minutes, 3 minutes. I mean, I think Evermore is like 5 minutes off of the album Evermore. She don't play with her songwriting, okay? She's giving you bridges and hooks and everything. That's what I appreciate about a good Taylor Swift album. And also, Casey Musgraves, this album was a little short, but the last album was the same way. It was very much like, we're gonna give y'all some percussions. We're gonna play this out. Even Beyonce, like Beyonce's albums, she gives you a good meaty song. These songs are 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 4 minutes. It's some body, some weight. These songs are so fast. Chloe's song, single, Have Mercy, that came out, it's like 2 minutes and 27 seconds. I'm just like, it's a jam, but it's like one of them type of things where you have to stream, you have to play it more than once, because I'm like, every time I'm getting ready to, and I'm like, that's it? It stops? Lizzo's song is super short. Like, all these songs are super short. I just, I don't know. I miss long songs. But the album is great. The album is short. It's around about 40 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. It goes. It just goes. But I will say it's a cohesive album. I love the album. It's the singles that came out, in my opinion, does not do this album justice. It reminds me of, not comparing, let me be clear. I'm not comparing Montero to Lemonade in any type of way. They're both great albums in their own way. But it's just that I think about, for example, with Lemonade, Beyonce put out Formation. Formation, as you all know, does not at all define the Lemonade album. Like Lemonade, the theme, the mood. I feel like Formation is like this weird song that just is on the side. Like it does not embody the message of that album. The same way that Run the World Girls did not define the Four album. Like Four as an album was nothing like Run the World. The songs on that album was way more expressive, emotional, and it's what I call a fake out. Like artists would give you a fake out with their singles to just throw you off. So like I think about that with Red by Taylor Swift. Like she put out We're Never Getting Back Together, which was a cute single, really great song. It was her first number one on the Billboard Hot 100. The issue is that when you listen to that album Red, it does not mirror those type of songs. It's a very deep, emotional album for most of the songs. I mean, there's a couple of little bops on there, but it's a very strong relationship breakup recovery album. It's gorgeous. It's actually, I would say it's definitely, definitely one of my favorite Taylor Swift albums. Definitely top three. And I don't think it's three. So yeah, I love the album. I think that Montero is a very cohesive album. He raps, he sings. It has different types of vibes. There's rock vibes, there's alternative pop vibes, there's different types of instruments. It's a beautiful album. It's a very reflective album. He does pour out all types of emotions. A very mature record. Very surprised. It's a great album, and there's so many different moods. There's different songs that fit different moods, and it's got features by, of course, Elton John, Miley Cyrus, Meg Thee Stallion, Doja Cat is in there. It's got some great features, but it's just it just was a different experience. It was better than I thought it was going to be. Let me just say that it was better than what I thought it was going to be. And it's very clear he thought a lot about what direction he wanted to go artistically with this sound and everything. So I have like nothing but love for the album. I encourage you all to stream it. I think it definitely should get nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys. His EP 7 was also nominated for Album of the Year. So this could be his second Album of the Year nomination. And yeah, just, thumbs up over here. All 4 stars. So let's get into this because, sidebar. He did an interview with The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne Tha God, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee. Y'all know I can't stand The Breakfast Club. I mean, let me just say this. Lil Nas X, the interview was like less than 30 minutes, like 20 minutes. Normally they do interviews for an hour. He was so smart in making this interview very short and to the point. It's like a 26-minute interview. And he killed the interview. I only watched it because I wanted to see how he was doing. I hate The Breakfast Club. I don't recommend it. Charlamagne Tha God is a mess. All of them is just trash. I'm not a fan of the show. But I wanted to listen to the interview, and I did. He handled himself very well. You could tell they really was like, everybody's watching us the fuck up. Like he got them into, like when I say that he cleared the room, he kept that interview very focused. They did not go into all the shenanigans, and he wasn't going to even let them go into all the shenanigans. And there was so much, he's just genius in the fact that everybody knew what was happening, but he was able to. They didn't do all this. Like they have a history, as you all know, of having sometimes queer guests and getting inappropriate, asking stupid questions, or bringing on people to say violent things about these guests. So he understood the room, he understood the assignment, and he killed it. So the interview was very good. The interviewers are not. Angela Lee don't know how to answer their damn questions. Ask them questions. It's very clear she's, I just was listening. She's always talking about herself and thinking about herself a little bit in her interviews. And it's almost like Lil Nas X is like, what's the question? Because it's like, sometimes I feel like they get into their own selves and they're forgetting the artist. And it's very clear to me too, to a certain extent. He was very adamant on them talking about the actual album and not delving too much into other things in his life, which he was able to maintain that balance. So I thought it was a really good interview because he came there prepared and also made sure that it wasn't going to be y'all go talk to me for an hour and have the callers saying dumb. Like he really kept it professional. It kept them professional. He's He gets it. So I was a big fan of his interview, and the fact that he made sure they didn't just be disrespectful. So shout out to that. So things not to shout out for Nicki Minaj. Okay, look, I don't know what is going on in the Minaj camp. I don't know who her publicist is. I don't even know if she clearly has a publicist. But I thought this was a PR crisis, but it's really a PR stunt. And I gotta apply my communication management hat on. Proud USC alum. Uh, we study situational crisis communication and whatnot. And I try to tell people, like, when I get on social and I talk about some of these PR things and all these communication things and all this stuff, it's because this is what I studied. I at first was thinking, this is too good to be true. And what I mean is, when something is, as you know, if something is too good to be true, then it's either not true or something else is happening. And that's kind of what ended up happening with this Nicki Minaj situation. I must say she's pretty damn strategic, but it's clear that something is going on. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was very much like anticipating, trying to figure out what's going on here. So let's just get everyone back to starters. The Met Gala required that all artists be fully vaccinated to be able to attend. That was the rules. That was the rules. Okay. She knew the rules from the jump. Period. Okay. She knew the rules from the jump. Period. She apparently said she could not go. She's not vaccinated. She confessed on social she's not vaccinated. Started talking about how her cousin's friend, because it's been confusing, had gotten swollen balls in Trinidad, and now he can't get married. And this is after he took the vaccine. She then double clarifies, like, she still has questions and need to do research about it. And then talk about, I understand people who have to get it for work and other folks. So she tries to backpedal in a way to make it sound like she's not anti-vax. And then, she goes on the tirade about her hesitancy. My whole thing is that if you are a celebrity on a world platform, let me just entertain the bullshit, because I'm going to tell you that I don't think none of this is the thing. This is not this is a deflection, y'all. But I'm going to get to that. But let's just entertain the fuckery for 5 seconds. First of all, COVID does not get you swollen balls. The Minister of Health for Trinidad came out publicly at a press conference to look up the cases. There is no reports of swollen balls due to COVID vaccines. It's not true. Basically, my whole thing is, if the cousin's friend said that, let me tell you something, sis. If the cousin's friend said that, I bet you that they're lying. They might be having a sexually transmitted disease or infection. There could be something else going on with those balls that has nothing to do with a vaccine. So whatever they told the fiance, if let's say it's true that they told their fiance or told their partner, that's what we're doing now. People out here getting other shit and then trying to say it's a vaccine. All right, okay. And if we're going to entertain it, but I think that's all bullshit. I think that's a deflection. At the end of the day, I think Nicki just doesn't want to get vaccinated. And I think that at the end of the day, the Met Gala told her, you have to do that or you can't come. I have other thoughts about that, because we're going to get to that. There's other suggestions I think about all this, about the Met Gala situation. Oh, but wait. So since this debacle, Joy Reid spoke about how she was disappointed that Nicki Minaj was putting this information out. Because let's be very clear, everyone's going to say, Nicki didn't say she's anti-vax. Nicki did say that. Stop it. Let me explain something to y'all. When you are a celebrity and have a world platform, you know what you're doing when you put out that. She was promoting vaccine hesitancy. And promoting that at this point in the game, in the middle of a variant, in the middle of variants, in the middle of breakthrough cases, for you to be promoting vaccine hesitation like that on your social media platform, And then playing into the, I don't know research. I need to look into the research. I need to do more research. Shut the fuck up. If you had vaccine hesitation, because let's be clear, hesitancy, you could easily contact Dr. Fauci or any of these professionals, and they could give you all the information you want in the privacy of your own home. Or you could have an Instagram live like many celebrities have done, okay? Many celebrities have had this. I mean, Dr. Fauci is willing to talk to anybody, any major media outlets, black media, of course. He's been working on situations. He knows about HIV, AIDS, the epidemic. He understands the importance of talking to black and brown communities about this. You could have did that. You could have used your platform and had a conversation. You could have asked those questions. You could have gave those examples. You could have did all of that. At the end of the day, that was not the plan. The plan wasn't that you lacked research, that you didn't understand. And at the end of the day, you played into media because now the media is like saying, like, left-wing media, progressives or whatever are saying, look, this is disappointing that she's doing this. Then she's apparently allegedly lying about the White House. She said that they invited her to the White House to talk about it. The White House said they didn't do that. They offered a virtual situation, but it was nothing like a come to the White House visit. She's pushing back on it. It's just so much extra drama there. You got Tucker Carlson from Fox News, Candace Owens backing her. And when you got Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson defending you and backing you publicly, then that tells me what kind of, like, where you are on this side of the conversation. Some of her fans are telling her, but Tucker Carlson is basically like has a history of racism and defending white supremacy. And she's like, why does political parties in this matter? I don't care if a person's Republican or whatever, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, interesting. Tell on yourself. Yeah, we know, girl. We know, Nicki. We know how you really feel. So the $1 billion question is, why is she doing this? People are calling it a suicide mission for her career. People say, why is this even happening right now? It's happening right now because there's a subpoena on her and her husband's ass by that woman, Jennifer Hugh, who I told you all about, was this woman who basically accused Kenneth Petty, which is Nicki Minaj's husband, Mr. Petty, of attempting to rape her, which it's not even an accusation. He was convicted, took a deal, settled in court, took this deal in court where it basically acknowledges attempted rape. And this happened many, many years ago when these individuals were in their teenage years. But basically, he's a registered sex offender. He's convicted of abuse. This is all, like, he has a rap sheet here. These are facts. This woman, contacted authorities. There was a whole situation here. Okay, and this is before Nicki and everything. So it's not like people can argue or say, oh, this happened because these people are famous and not. No. Kenneth had a rap sheet. Kenneth is dealing with having to go into different states and register as a sex offender because he needs to do that. He has to do that. So the Daily Beast did a story where they basically said that Nicki, according to this story in the Daily Beast, which, okay, I mean, this is all, you can Google this. There's the New York Times did a story about it. I mean, these are stories by legitimate, credible journalists that's in the press. Like, this ain't no rumors or no lies. I mean, they're reporting this. They interviewed the woman. She says she's been intimidated and there was money involved to silence her and to intimidate her. And she's now suing them for this type of intimidation, death threats, all kind of shit, physical harm, threats of physical harm that was coming from their team. There's a whole story about it in the Daily Beast. And also the New York Times have written on this. So all of this is going on behind the scenes. And at the end of the day, I think that, first of all, there's a subpoena, right? They're trying to subpoena these people to go to court. There's going to be a lawsuit, y'all. There's going to be a trial. Nicki is getting sued. This is serious. These are legal problems. Okay? And this woman, Jennifer, she is talking to the press. She wants people to know her story. She wants people to know. There's a hashtag called hashtag surviving the petties. And there's some hip hop journalists and people out here that's been snooping around getting, court documents and things. This is a real thing. And I didn't realize how deep it was until I started to do my own research and find stuff. But these are some serious allegations, rap sheets, convictions, all kind of shit. This is huge. And the thing is that I think that as they get closer to the subpoena and this lawsuit, because they have to, they don't address the subpoena. It might be some arrest, maybe. Who knows? Possibly. It's just a very serious situation. I think Nicki is trying very hard right now to deflect the conversation. She wants more people talking about this anti-vax stuff than talking about this, because I also think there's a part of me that wants her to build this martyrdom for herself. I see it the way she talks about it. She's so arrogant. She's such an egoist. I mean, it's horrible. But the way that she talks about herself, she's acting like she's a victim of the cause, that she's some Joan of Arc. And it's weird because she literally walked into a situation that she spreaded misinformation. She was getting fact checked even by her own fans. She just completely have lost her marbles. And she's playing into tropes about, oh, I'm a woman and this is why they're doing this to me, and it's racism, and I'm smart and I'm a freak. I mean, she's doing all these stuff. It's very Donald Trump-like. And I've seen this before because we've seen it with Candace Owens. She's playing into all of these stereotypes and tropes because she's trying to create a narrative of herself that in the event that she gets arrested or this court case comes out, she wants to act like they came after her because of the vaccine, even though this was coming on her ass before the vaccine, before the Met Gala situation took off, all of that. But she's trying to change the narrative really fast, and no one's falling for the bullshit. I wrote a tweet that went viral that basically explained that she's trying to dodge accountability in this way. And at the end of the day, the articles are there, the stories are there. It's very timely and interesting that we're spending more time talking about this vaccination stuff, and that's the media articles are coming out about that's supposed to drive down the articles in the press that was hovering over her for a while about the Kenneth Petty and her and the lawsuits and all that. That's what she's trying to do. It's a very strategic method. Like if you go Google Nicki Minaj now, there's tons of articles about her beefs, and she's keeping this drama going to drive off the focus and the conversation about what's happening with her husband. And the thing is that eventually that's going to then be the story, because the subpoena is going to eventually have to be accepted and addressed. This little stunt can only go on for so long. It's going to die down by the end of this week. I don't see this continuing. I mean, she's getting off of Twitter. She's taking a break off of Twitter because I think the more that she talks, the more that she realizes that her tweets are going to be that there's going to be a shift. So she's not on Twitter. She claimed that Twitter had suspended her account, which is not true. Twitter says they did not do that. She could easily go on Twitter and do her thing. I think she's trying to get off of Twitter because she can't control the noise on Twitter. And every time she tweets, there's now people having the ability and access to say certain things. And it's interesting because I've been critical of some of the stuff she's been doing and saying, and she hasn't blocked me yet. But it's just been interesting to follow along and see, because it's telling. It's very telling. Her team, it's very telling. And we're, stay tuned. So, last big conversation, I suppose. There's been a lot of chatter and talk about a certain thread I did on Instagram last week about a certain event. I will tell you all that I have been minding my business and doing my thug thizzle. It's just, I've been minding my business, doing my thug thizzle, and I saw something that struck my attention. And when I saw this, it was, compelling. There was an event that happened last weekend. A group of Black party producers, event curators, people like that, I suppose, decided they want to have an event. They've been having it for a while. I'm not going to name the event because I don't think the name of the event or just the I don't think that matters in this case because this is a bigger conversation about events like this because there's so many events like this that honestly that's what it is. So this event, they had it. They charged $250 for tickets. It's a black event. They said the event was for the elite and the professionals, and that they wanted people to spend $250 for a ticket. Their dress code was that you have to wear all black. They, was framing it in this very like, oh, this is what, this is, they ran off of this trope around blackness to censor their event. And they really, promoted all of this stuff about excellence and exquisite and black excellence and all of this stuff. And what was interesting about the event itself, based on who I knew was there and some of the people, there were some people that went that were, I just have gotten to a point where I just feel that as a community, right, this exploitation, these of the culture in this way of trying to reinvent the same types of elite structures amongst black people in ways that white people have done forever is some of the most obnoxious, pretentious shit I've ever fucking seen. And it's annoying because, we're in not a post-racial, we're definitely not, but we're a year after the George Floyd protests and whatnot. And it's interesting that there is these groups that are trying to market, like commodify black excellence in these very capitalistic, cheesy ways. And trying to recreate very, boule type vibes that is really well, first of all, I just have to say, as somebody who has been around the block a couple of times and have seen certain things, it's really interesting when people say that they're creating events for elite professionals. Elite professionals don't throw events for themselves that call themselves elite, right? The elite never calls themselves elite. Anything that says elite that is for the elite is never actually for the elite. It's actually class anxiety kicking in. I was talking earlier about class anxiety and, a little bit about like how people don't know who's wealthy and who's not. But this notion is that everybody wants to pretend to be rich. There's a difference between enjoying luxury and pretending to be rich. And what's happened is that there's been a lot of folks who are not as educated on particular issues. I'm not calling people dumb and stupid, even though sometimes people can be dumb and stupid. But there are a lot of people who are not educated on the types of things that they're trying to perpetuate. Let's just say that, right? Like they don't understand like they say they want one thing, but it's obvious that it's the most generic, basic concept of what they're trying to produce. So if you're trying to put on an event that is for elite professionals, first of all, you don't say the event is elite. You don't design it like that. And the reality is that this type of premise is something that's a very elementary level way of marketing, which shows that it's oftentimes someone who isn't that elite that's trying to exude that. And so what I've known about the working class that try to model this type of wealth is that they do it in ways of materialism. It's about what you dress. People think that you can dress rich. And there are ways you can quote unquote dress rich, right? Like we play into it. Like I play into luxury. Like I have a Versace robe, but I'm not trying to act like I'm super rich. I don't want you to think I'm super rich. I mean, let me be clear. As an influencer, I eat out a lot for free. I definitely, I have some money, but I ain't, y'all listen. Y'all try to go to some tastings with me, whatever. Let's do it, right? I'm not trying to give off all of that. I think you can enjoy nice things, but I think there is a group of people, especially in Philadelphia, but at all cities, this happens everywhere, that are trying to create a network that that does not have the net worth that they're trying to perpetuate. And it's a trend that I've been seeing for many years in Philadelphia, but it's growing in these economic times. That there is a group of Black people in Philadelphia that is trying to create a new Brulee, a new Jack and Jill, a new whatever. They're trying to reinvent that in this era. In the roaring 20s, we knew there was a trend of that. See, we got to know history, right? There is that coming. There is an old guard of black people with money, old money in Philly, okay? What I'm telling you is that the people that are putting this stuff together, some of them are the relatives of those people, but a lot of those people are not those people. But they're trying to create this class. And it concerns me because as someone who knows my history and understand it, it's concerning because of the fact that we're in the large, first of all, act your wage. Let's start there. Act your wage. And also recognize the actual impact of what we're doing here. This city is the poorest major city in the country. It's not to say that people cannot. This is not even just a black issue, but it's disappointing because I'm seeing people in our communities perpetuate this. But this is something that Philadelphia has had an issue with, is that they, even amidst that poverty, they still want to denote this level of high class and wealth that isn't there in that way. And the thing is that I'm not saying that as a person who grew up working class, I am not trying to perpetuate the notion that you can't be creative, that you can't have style, that you can't be smart or any of those things without being wealthy or rich. Because Lord knows, hello, looking at myself, that's not the, and my fiance. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's one thing to enjoy luxury. It's one thing to indulge. It's one thing to, aspire to certain things. But it's another thing to try to create and reinvent elite economic classes within the social strata. It's a completely different thing. And people cross that line a lot. And there's a different implication when you try to create that versus just having a good time. Like, I like to have a good time. My black ass like to go to a party. I like to dress nice. I like to have fun. That's different. But when you're trying to market and you're trying to create or create this, and a lot of these people are really involved. They're obsessed with Jay-Z. They are the type of dumbasses that will have dinner with Jay-Z and not get the $500,000. And you all know my theory changes on every week because I realize, wait a minute, if the Met Gala is $35,000 a ticket, with my $500,000, if I gave a fuck, I would buy a Met Gala ticket, see Jay-Z, see everybody else, give these people my card. They would think that because I could afford a seat there, that I clearly got money, I'm somebody. They're going to probably follow up with me for some networking one-on-one, and I can have a bigger cadre of support. Or I could just buy a awarded MBA and then be a part of an alumni association with tons of billionaires and then learn how to make money, if that's what you want to do. I mean, again, you understand somebody's economic, financial, or fiscal maturity based on how they answer that question and how they value it. It's just a clear thing. Like, I'm just going to say this and it's going to hurt some people's feelings. But if you are choosing to have dinner with Jay-Z over the $500,000, I just want you to grow a little bit. I want you to read more books. Okay, read more. You really read more books. Read. Everybody's skipping reading nowadays. I got to say this because this is my podcast and I'm going to go off. There's a culture now of people that don't want to read books. And let me be very clear. There was a culture of anti-college folks. And I'm just thinking about my entire lifespan. I remember growing up, there was always the college ain't for everybody. Right? College ain't for everybody. Everybody don't got to go to college to do this. And I remember there was a very strong anti-college culture. But I will say that those people that I knew growing up who just didn't want to go to college or whatever, which is their personal right, and I get it, right? Let me say I have friends who didn't go to college. Best friends, close friends that has not went to college. That's not the thing. The interesting thing I will say is that just because they didn't go to college, they didn't stop learning. They didn't stop reading books. They didn't stop educating themselves elsewhere. They didn't stop listening to facts. That's the part that's crazy for me, is that I'm seeing a lot of people nowadays completely go from one extreme to another. So now they are like, look, I don't go to college, I don't read books, I just think a dream. I'm sorry, what the fuck planet are you on? That's the culture I'm starting to see. Like, I'm starting to realize that there's a lot of people that want to get into businesses and models and industries, and they're not reading or doing any research on their own. The whole I'm going to do my research is a lie. These people are not doing anything. They're not. They're watching Netflix documentaries and TED Talks, and they're really out here thinking that they can now be in a position where they can perpetuate the same type of work and advocacy and role of folks who did put themselves through school or did do the trainings or did do the workshops or did get the education. Like, the thing is that in life, you may want to skip college because in your mind, college is not the formality of college, and institution of college may be too expensive or whatever, and I get that. But you cannot skip learning. And I think there's people out here who have completely abandoned education in general. And now there's a conflation between college and education. No, education does not have to yield a degree or not. Education does not have to yield, those types of things. It can just basically be you putting yourself through the proper training and information to do the right thing. There's a lot of people out here that's perpetuating and putting out events and things or all kind of stuff and is not educated on the implications or the impact of what they're doing and how it affects people or communities. And it's showing. They don't know anything about a lot of stuff. It's very, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to whatever. We got to stop. We got to stop. We got to stop. Okay, I am not a snob where I'm like, everybody got to get a degree. If you can go to college, if you can find an affordable way to go to college, I personally would say do it. Because there's more to college than just getting a degree. It's more to college, just like quote unquote education. There's an opportunity for you to make mistakes in the intellectual spaces and grow from them. It's an opportunity to build a social network for yourself. It's an opportunity for you to, develop in an environment with other people that are also developing like you. To the friends I know that did not go to college, when we have these conversations, they felt like in many ways they had to grow up quickly because they had to work and they had to work with coworkers that were older than them. They had to be in environments where, everybody was with kids and families. And so there was a learning curve and adjustment that they had to make a lot sooner than I had to when I was in school. So there's a lot of interesting cultural experiences. But nonetheless, I will say that all of my friends are educated. All of my friends are reading books and listening to facts and doing the research and doing all of that. Degrees or not. I'm realizing that a lot of y'all friends ain't out here doing that. And they're putting out events and creating problematic stereotypes and not realizing that what they want is their outcome does not, align with their production. And so when I saw one of these events happen, it was just disappointing because I recognized what was happening in this situation. I was recognizing that this is a part of a bigger culture. And I try to tell people, I don't really talk people, I talk policy. I don't really talk individuals, I talk institutions. I really think about the larger scale of things. That's just based on what I do for a living. That if you don't see the bigger picture of what your actions do and the implications of it, then you could be missing the entire point altogether. Some of the people, I guess, who I was talking about in my story, and it was like, how you gonna tear down a black person? I said, in my mind, these people sound like Nicki Minaj. An event that is actually trying to create elite spaces, by definition, they literally are like trying to create elite professional spaces and a class dynamic and charge people for that type of spectacle, are people that are basically, even whether intentional or not, are trying to further a certain type of class in a city that is poor. What we should not be doing in Philadelphia is continuing to try to create and advance elite spaces of social class amongst black people in a city where most of us are disproportionately impacted by the pandemic and everything else. We should actually be trying to use said resources to, one, create spaces of joy, which does not have to be spaces of elitism. You could create black joy without being an elitist. You could create self-care without marginalization. You could do all of these things without being super fucking classist. Like, you can do that, people. I promise you. I'm learning ways to do it. Listen, I'm learning ways to do it. We all are unpacking those ways. I just think some people don't recognize the differences between language and diction and words. And listen, Get on Galaxy, and we can have a conversation on Galaxy about the talk when that app when that app comes out. Shameless plug. But seriously though, we could do these types of things. But that just was something that was important to me. And I've been seeing a lot of these networking events and things that's trying to create that culture. And we got to do better in our community to try to do it. Like when I create my events and the stuff that I do, y'all know I'm all about accessibility. I'm all about affordability. I'm always thinking about that. Now, if I want to do something that's private and intimate for me and mine, okay, that's different. Like that's me. I have that right? But I think across the board, you got to think about all these other moving pieces. And I just felt like an event like this, why? It was all on my timeline, people talking about it, like, we still doing this type of stuff? And I just want to say this, and there's no shade, but to a lot of these old Philly club promoter types that used to do the club promoting back in the day when that was the era that's now gotten into their 30s, and now they're trying to create these events on a large scale. It's time to get a new occupation. It's time, y'all. It's time. It's time to get a new occupation. It's time to switch up. It's time to, grow up. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So, lastly, TV shows. So, I am in love with Queen Sugar. Okay, the second episode calmed me down a little bit because I didn't want to talk about what happened to Mr. Proctor. The first episode, which Ava DuVernay broke my heart, but it's I'm a lot better. Won't tell it, but you can imagine. Love and Hip Hop, y'all. They've been talking about this Safari Erica Mena divorce, which you all know they're Splitsville now. But like, oh my God, like he is terrible. Safari went from being one of my favorite characters to like now like most hated. I think he's up there with Kirk Frost, which is Rashida's husband, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So as y'all know, Safari is Nicki Minaj's ex-boyfriend of 12 years. They dated for a long time. Let me just say this about Safari getting out the Nicki Minaj situation. He was trying to tell us she was a little cuckoo. Clearly he knew, right? So shout out to him for getting out that situation. But not shout out to you for being a piece of trash. Because like, my goodness, this situation with, oh my gosh, like, oh, these men. But like, him and Erica's situation has just been a mess. He wasn't there for the baby's the second child's birth. She's split him. He is absent, but then wants to keep this relationship together. It's a lot going on with them. I'm trying to follow through with impeachment. I love it. Y'all, I am in love. I'm obsessed with the show. We're also on episode 2, Linda Tripp. I don't want to talk too much, but this is the episode where we see more of Monica and Bill Clinton, some action going on between them. Clive Owen is playing the hell out of Bill Clinton. Let me just say, I was a big fan of Clive Owen many years ago. Many years ago. When I was young and in theater arts, I saw a movie called Closer, which is with him. I think it's on HBO Max. It's directed by the late, great Mike Nichols, who was married to Diane Sawyer, fun fact. Closer is with Natalie Portman, Clive Owen, Jude Law, and Julia Roberts. Natalie Portman got her first Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress for this film, and Clive Owen did as well. They both got nominated. They both won the Golden Globe, but then at the Oscars, they lost to Kate Blanchett in The Aviator, I believe, and then also Morgan Freeman for Million Dollar Baby, which Morgan Freeman, it was long overdue for him to get an Oscar, so I wasn't too mad about it. But they were phenomenal in this film. And Clive Owen's been in some other movies like Children of Men and some other types of films. But let me just say that in this impeachment as Bill, he's British playing Bill Clinton, and he kills it. He kills it. The accent, the swag, the appeal. I'm here for it. Linda Tripp, Sarah Paulson, listen, get her the Emmy already, y'all. Just reserve it. Just keep the Emmy name because she's gonna get it. And if she doesn't, she deserves. I see Golden Globe nominations in her future, and it shows. It's a phenomenon. It's been good. It's been juicy. I know people haven't. I mean, there's a lot of shows going on. The ratings has not been super crazy compared to the other American crime stories like the O.J. Simpson one and stuff. But listen, it don't matter. The show was great. I encourage you all to watch it. It's getting juicy. I mean, we all know how it's going to end, but it's just interesting to see them replay some of these events, and the acting has been stellar. And lastly, about that show, The Activist, y'all, it is getting retooled. Yes. They're scrapping the competitive show nature of it. And this is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean by we put our foot down and we got results. Okay? People thought tweeting about this and trashing this wasn't gonna go anywhere, and it did. It did, y'all. They listened. CBS saw the criticism that people like myself and others on social media was giving this show, and they are completely scrapping the competition element to it, and they are basically going to do like a documentary. It's going to be like a documentary type of thing, but they realize they missed the mark. I don't know what's going to happen to the other stars and all that, but they're scrapping it. Okay, sidebar. My petty, messy self would just love to see the what was the show. I mean, we're never probably going to see it, but like if someone could leak it on YouTube or something. I've heard rumors. I heard that somebody on the cast was supposed to be wearing blackface for a competition or some shit. I've heard all kind of interesting stories, and I'm like, now that they're scrapping it, is somebody gonna leak the footage or let us see what some of the dumb shit they were doing? I mean, I just want to laugh at this point, but we'll never see what end up happening. But I feel like some of the people might tell their story, or there may be some confessionals. But the show is being retooled, so yeah, that's all for this week. You know, I think I have a lot of big announcements, y'all. I have to sit with them, but I'm going to see if I can reveal something next week. I will see if I can. But a lot's going on, and it's all good. And until then, I will see y'all soon. Be well, be best. Earnestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.